Welcome here to my YouTube channel, Evette Rose. Also, your certified guide to holistic well-being and healing, as well as on top of that, psychosomatics for adults and children. So, what I am best known for is having written this big book called Metaphysical Anatomy. As you can see, it's a big book of 679 medical ailments and the psychosomatic stress of that for adults. But we'll dive a little bit more into that a little bit later. I'm also the author of 19 books, all dedicated to supporting you to help you to improve your quality of life. And so much, or basically the basis of my work, is also based on my own experiences with anxiety, depression, and so many other more mental health challenges and stress factors that I also had in my own life, and how I ended up overcoming them and sharing that with you to support you and to help you to improve your quality of life as well. And also, what you will find here on the site is my podcast, Heal Within. We have also wonderful weekly masterclasses. It's called Fast Track Masterclasses, specifically designed, and you heard the word fast, right? To support you if you have a very busy schedule and a very busy life, but you still want to heal. Now, all my masterclasses always have either healing meditation and also valuable writing exercises where we really dive deeper into the nitty-gritty aspects of life and also help you to really start to create real change also in your life. And I also developed a powerful healing technique called MAT, M-A-T, Metaphysical Anatomy Healing Technique, which is also the technique behind this big book, and so much more to help you to start to improve these challenging blocks and self-sabotage, secondary gains, fears or phobias or pain, or maybe you have addiction, stress as well. There's so many aspects that we can support you to help you to really create the life that it is that you want. And I share also so much of what my journey of healing was like as well. And I share that with you so that you don't have to go through the pitfalls and all the long, winding pathways that I ended up going through. So let's quickly dive a little bit more into what is also psychosomatics and how does it work. And I also designed powerful courses such as healing your boundaries, mastering depression, mastering pain, mastering self-love, happiness, communication, and also anxiety. And we dive deep into these workshops as well, where we'll help you to show you how to really truly start to move beyond it, but also most importantly, how to actually also see it from a completely different perspective. So these workshops are also very powerful and also based on so many things that I myself have experienced, my students, and also my clients. Now, let's also dive into what is psychosomatics. So why am I even talking about it? Well, I have actually written two big books on this topic. And here, for example, one of my bestsellers is called Metaphysical Anatomy. And this big book is about 679 medical ailments, where I write about each ailment and the psychosomatic stress of that for adults, as well as key points where you can start to dive into to learn to understand how certain emotions and stressors and traumas could be contributing or even exasperating certain ailments or certain mental health disorders as well. And yes, of course, I have the kids version as well. So this one has the psychosomatics of children, because children haven't quite really had their full life ahead of them quite yet, right? To accumulate all these stress and trigger points. So where is that coming from? It's a very interesting book. So let's dive straight into this, because when we just look at the bigger scope, like in the realm of medicine and psychology, the concept of psychosomatic clearly illustrates the intricate interplay between the mind and the body, which comes from actually the Greek words psyche, which is mind, and soma, which is body. So psychosomatics here in this case now explores how emotional and psychological factors can actually influence our physical health. Now, this phenomenon actually underscores the undeniable connection between the mental and the physical well-being, which is shaping the way that we actually now start to approach healthcare and self-care. Mind-body connection. Now, the notion of the mind affecting the body and vice versa is not a novel idea. So, ancient civilizations actually recognized the profound relationship between emotional stress and bodily health. However, it was actually during the 20th century that psychosomatic medicine gained a prominence as almost like a legitimate field of study. So, physicians and psychologists actually began to investigate how stress and anxiety and depression and other emotional factors could actually lead to or even exacerbate physical illnesses. And that is also exactly what I have been doing for the past 15 years after having worked with 6,000 people plus one-on-one and having taught in 40 countries. You start to see a lot of patterns and algorithms between people. And what intrigued me the most was how certain stress points for different people could be exactly the same, regardless of your diet, your cultural background as well, or where geographically they might be. The mechanisms at play. Now, psychosomatic disorders manifest in various ways, often involving also exacerbation of existing conditions or the emergence of actually new ones. So, the underlying mechanism behind these connections are multifaceted. Stress response. The body's response to stress involves the release of hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which can impact immune function, inflammation, and overall psychological balance. So, chronic stress can actually weaken the immune system and make the body more susceptible to illnesses. But then it's also very interesting to observe how certain emotions are drawn to certain parts and organs of the body, meaning if certain negative emotions are energized, how it can actually impact and affect the functioning of that body part or the organ. Neurotransmitter influence. So, the brain's neurotransmitters, which regulate mood and emotion, also play a role in physical health, for instance. Now, imbalances in serotonin levels have been linked to conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and even migraines. Inflammation. Now, chronic emotional stress can lead to low-grade inflammation in the body, contributing to the development of conditions, for example, like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and also autoimmune disorders. Pain perception. Now, psychological factors can influence how individuals perceive and manage pain. So, emotional stress can actually exacerbate pain symptoms, making conditions like fibromyalgia or chronic back pain a lot more challenging to treat. And what I've also come to learn is that suppressed anger often plays a very big role behind chronic pain. Behavioral factors. Now, emotions can influence behaviors such as eating habits, exercise, substance use as well. And negative emotional states might lead actually to unhealthy behaviors that increase the risk of physical ailments. Examples of psychosomatic disorders. So, psychosomatic disorders compasses a broad spectrum of conditions that actually highlight the mind and the body connection. Somatization disorder. Now, this involves experiencing physical symptoms that have no apparent medical cause. Now, these symptoms can often stem from underlying emotional stress, and a lot of doctors have confirmed this. Psychogenic pain. Now, pain that is primarily caused or exacerbated by psychological factors. Conditions, for example, like tension, headaches, and also certain cases of back pain falls into this category. You know those times when you work and you sit and you don't really sit in necessarily uncomfortable position, but suddenly you have this tremendous amount of overwhelm of responsibilities, and suddenly, wow, your neck starts to hurt. Now your shoulder starts to hurt. There's a reason for that, but not necessarily what you might think. And this could potentially be a psychosomatic reaction. Gastrointestinal disorders. Now, conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and peptic ulcers can be influenced by stress and emotional factors. And I've actually have a wonderful live healing demonstration on my YouTube channel at evettevideos.com where we actually addressed a stomach ulcer and also many other pain and psychosomatic pain disorders as well. Cardiovascular disorders. Now, stress and negative emotions can also contribute to hypertension and the increase on risk also of heart disease. Skin conditions. So, emotional stress can also trigger or worsen skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, and also hives. Holistic approach to healthcare. So, the recognition of psychosomatic connections has led to a huge shift in the healthcare paradigm because a holistic approach that considers both of the physical and the emotional aspects of health is starting to gain a lot of traction. And I am deeply also fascinated with this topic. As you can see with these big books that I have written, I have 19 books, but these two are my absolute favorite. And I've even developed a workshop called Intuitive Body Workshop, where I teach people to learn how to understand the psychosomatic messages in the body behind emotional stress, pain, as well as ailments. And I've also developed a healing technique to help people to deal with psychosomatic stress and trauma in their body. And you can find everything at evetterose.com or at evetteroseevents.com. And guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask or search here on my YouTube channel. There's a lot of data and research here that you will find. And until next time, take care.